You know, I mean, everything I do always has a blues edge to it. So I thought maybe it's time to sort of bring that out a little more. I think anybody who's ever listened to my guitar playing, or at least anybody who's ever liked my guitar playing, has had an appreciation for the blues and understood that I came from there. So I kind of wanted to bring that out a little more. But I also, you know, I'm not forsaking the jazz end of what I do. I think that's what's really important is to combine it all. And I think there's a lot of people like me. I don't think I'm like living in a vacuum. I think there's a lot of people who like a lot of different styles of music. So we should celebrate that and put it all, you know, in one place.
The blues word was mentioned, the B word, pretty early on. Now, I've made a lot of blues records, and I've always had a great love for the music. It didn't make it more interesting to me had somebody said, well, we'd like to kind of do a Moroccan style record or a Chinese style record. I would have, with musicians like this, I would have found that equally stimulating, I think. But what I really think of as the blues doesn't really exist as it did.
My manager, Bud Harner, suggested that when we were going to go further down a blues vein, said, you know, John Porter did some stuff for me when I worked at Verve. This was, I'm quoting Bud now because I didn't work at Verve. But he talked about John Porter, and I looked at some of the records that I knew some of the records he'd done. For one thing, the Phantom Blues record by Taj Mahal is one that's in my regular rotation. So I knew John and I knew his work. We got together and we met, and I realized he's the same way that I am, that he loves blues but really appreciates jazz and country music and all kinds of music, which I think that's really I think that's necessary for anybody who's involved with this project. We're just going to break down to after 2 times, to break down to the intro again, like the same way we did for your solo, like way down. And
How are we doing for endings?
Well, I got involved with Jeff through Bud Harner, who I'd worked with on projects before. And I guess Bud mentioned, I got a phone call from Bud, and he mentioned about Jeff. Well, I'd heard Jeff's playing before, and I think we had quite a few musician friends in common. I sort of said, yeah, that sounds interesting. And then Jeff turned up in LA and we had a meeting. And our background is kind of similar, and there are certain areas where, you know, where we've covered the same ground. And I think we just both sort of felt, yeah, this could be fun. I just got a call from Jeff saying, well, look, I've got these guys, and if we can get a studio, we can do it. So that was very appealing to me.
Well, the band that's playing on this record had a lot to do with us doing this record the way that we are. I've been trying to get this group of guys in the studio for so many years. I mean, it's hard to believe, but it's true. I mean, I've played with these guys a million times, but to get 4 days in a row where they're like free, because Sean Pelton, the drummer, he plays on Saturday Night Live, so he's around a lot, but he's working all the time. He's on more records than anybody I know of. And Tony Garnier, the bass player, plays with Bob Dylan, so Bob Dylan keeps him pretty busy. They're touring a lot. And Kenny White is busy touring with his own music. He's a solo artist. But there's a sensitivity that this particular band gets when we play of really listening to each other and responding.
You know, I can tell my story in as many bars as you give me. Or as few. It's just a different kind of story.
I mean, it happens with most of the musicians I work with, but this particular band, there's a sound that I've been wanting to capture forever.
I think this is a really soulful bunch of guys because they're great players, and I like to work with great players. That's the icing on the cake for me.
This was really the band to use, the only band I wanted to play with, because I know it sounds silly, but they can appreciate the technical ability of Charlie Parker, but also the soul of Hank Williams. You know, that the going down a really old style country blues vein isn't wasted. That's like they'll understand the subtleties of that and why that's a valid kind of music. And it just goes for everything that we're doing. I think it opens up everything. We don't have to limit ourselves. It's wonderful. And say John Porter has been as much a part of this as anybody. He understands also.
I try to keep an open mind, and I try, depending on the project, but this kind of project, I try to be receptive to what's laid out. I don't want to complicate matters by laying out my stall and saying, well, this is what I think you should be doing. I think it's better to be more sensitive to what they put out, and then seeing how it fits into an overall shape, and maybe helping then to shape it into something rather than thrusting something upon it.
To get everybody in a room like this there's no substitution for that. I mean, you play off each other and say, this band really knows how to do that. Let's try one more, because that'll make it.
Yeah, because I feel, well, with the new tempos, I think we're all kind of a little on top, and you're right there, and maybe the rest of us are just a little.
Let's do one as a family. I like it.
John Porter really understands what that's about. He's listening from the. He doesn't want us to be like doing separate performances. He's looking at it as a band performance.
I think
it probably was. I mean,
I think it was better overall.
When we choose takes, we're not choosing it that, oh, that was a good drum track, we can build on that. We're choosing it like, oh, the whole band played good on that. We can use that. And so it is it's all of us at once. It's all or nothing. We're all in it together. I haven't really given much thought about what's coming up in the future. I'm really like over the top happy to be given the opportunity to do music like this, the way that I hear it with this band live, and just the interplay and everything that's happening right now. We're going into territory I don't even know where we're going with from song to song, what we're getting into. It's really a collaborative effort. And so I don't have any idea really what the future will hold. I'm hoping this is a stepping stone to something interesting, but you never know where that next foot's going to lie. I don't even know where the next song's going to lie.